For those of you who have watched me or listened to me for some time, you know I hate doing this YouTuber bullshit where I talk about my own channel, but I figure once every 100 or so videos is probably not too bad. This is my 200th dose, and I've lost count of how many pieces of work I've done overall between my musical autopsies, worst song lists, advice no one asked for, scumbags of the internet, and all the other little segments, commercial parodies, and other things I've done over the years. December 9th, 2015 will be 6 years of me producing content. 6 years, and in that time I've taken very little time off. And if you count things like Angry August or other periods where I've put out more than one piece of content, add it all up and it probably averages out to more than one piece of content every week for 6 years, which I've done pretty much for free, if you don't count my premium content, and as ad-free as humanly possible, despite YouTube allowing these fucking record companies to slap ads all over my perfectly legal, absolutely fair use critiques on music. Now, I'm not saying all of this so you'll jerk me off and tell me what a great job I've been doing. Again, that's YouTuber bullshit, and I'm not interested in it. What I am interested in telling you about is the life cycle of a YouTuber. For about a year or two, I had a great growth period. Right now, I'm holding steady, but definitely heading toward my down cycle. No doubt about it. YouTube audiences are fickle. And no matter how much you believe you're improving your content, especially when you do a weekly show all year long, or especially multiple things a week, people are going to get bored. Fans you had 2, 3, 4 years ago start dropping off, or they stop watching weekly. Maybe they'll binge watch your videos once a month. Then maybe they'll forget. And then that's that. Think about your own viewing habits. You know this happens. I used to watch Epic Mealtime every week, right at the upload time. Then maybe later on in the week. Then I'd wait for a couple to come out and watch them. Then I'd just watch the ones that looked the most interesting, and now I probably watch maybe one episode a year. And look at their numbers. They've dropped significantly too. Look at an episode that aired 6 months ago, the Big Mac Loaf. Not even 1 million views, despite having over 6 million subscribers. 6 months, not long enough to build up enough views, you say? Well, a year ago, they posted one called Pork Parmesan, still sitting under 800,000 views. But go back 3 years ago, when they were at their peak, every video has 2 to 6 million views. This isn't because they're older and now everyone's had a chance to watch them, it's because more people were engaged during that time. I'm in the same boat, but of course on a smaller scale. My video on obesity, posted 3 years ago when I was in my growth period, has been seen over 700,000 times. Same with my musical autopsy of Thrift Shop. Massive song at the time. Now take a look at a video like my musical autopsy of Omi's Cheerleader. A massive song right now. 250,000 views so far. Not bad, I'm happy with that number, but will it ever hit that 700,000 mark if I give it the same amount of time? I doubt it. But there's songs that are arguably as big. And I have far more subscribers now than I did in 2013. So my opinions on those songs should draw an equal number of my fans to check it out, and cause a lot of shares and semi-viral posting, right? But it didn't. Or, look at my arguments of pro-gun people. Guns are a hot-button issue, as was obesity when I talked about it. Every other week some new study was coming out then. Will my gun video ever see 700,000 views? I'm sure there are many of you who definitely hope not. But the point is that, like every person who creates content for YouTube and gets remotely popular for any amount of time, the rules of gravity apply. What goes up must come down. And it has nothing to do with the quality of the videos dropping. People just kind of find other newer things that they enjoy more and get bored of what they enjoyed previously. This is the same for every medium of entertainment. Look at TV. Very few shows get to go out on top. Sitcoms that have run for 6 to 10 years or more almost always wind down with lower ratings. People need to make room in their lives for new experiences, new forms of entertainment, new responsibilities as they get older. And there are only so many hours in the day, so certain things fall by the wayside. And in my opinion, the absolute worst thing to do about this is panic and start adding new content if you make content for YouTube. Of course, I don't monetize, so I don't have to worry about keeping a certain number of views per week on my channel to make enough money. But you can dilute your brand by saying, "Oh shit, I used to get 1 million views per video. Now I get 500,000. Well, I'll make 2 to 3 videos a week and get those numbers back up." Because now, people are going to say, "I barely have time to watch 1 video a week from this person. I certainly don't have time to watch 2 or 3. You know what? I don't really miss it. I'm just not going to watch any of them." And then you panic further, you make bad decisions about your content, start trying to tailor your content to the vocal minority in your comments section that makes up like 1% or less of your audience. It does start to get worse, and then that's the end of that. You aimlessly create a bunch of garbage until you quit, angry, believing that it had nothing to do with you. Your fans abandon you because they're too stupid to appreciate real genius. Because this is YouTube and not TV, where they just put you out of your misery by canceling you. Once in a rare while, you'll get a second surge, a new crop of fans comes in, but it's usually like an aftershock. The impact is smaller and shorter, and really just a cock tease where you think you're back on top, but you're not. You're just not. As I said, this pretty much goes for every entertainer in every industry. The idea of being a YouTube star is just so new, and people who become famous on YouTube are usually amateurs who never had any guidance from anyone else who was famous before them. Someone who can tell them how the business is, so they just think, "I'm gonna be popular forever." And then you're showing up at VidCon to an empty table getting pity looks as they walk by you to get an autograph from some new famous guy who's got like 10 million subscribers and a channel where he plays video games naked or some shit. Lucky for me, I'm not famous enough to even get invited to VidCon in the first place, so I don't have to worry about that. But anyway, the point was that my popularity is dwindling. That's gonna happen. There's going to come a time where a brand new musical autopsy doesn't even hit 100,000 views in a month. Where I have a worst songs list that doesn't get to 1 million views. That's gonna happen. So, I can cry about it, or I can just say, you know what, I don't really give a shit. For the first 2.5 years, I did a dose of Buckley for less than 13,000 subscribers. I didn't have my first gain of 100 subscribers in a day until April of 2012. I posted weekly for 2.5 years for an audience over 40 times smaller than the size of my current audience. I mean, realistically, for the first year, there was a point where I had less than 100 subscribers and I was still doing this. My most popular video of all time, the 10 Worst Songs of 2011, didn't even start getting popular until August of 2012. For the first 7 months that video was posted, it only hit 278,000 views, and I was fucking thrilled as shit about that number. I never thought one of my videos would hit 10,000 views, never mind 10 million. Near the end of 2013, I was averaging over 3.6 million views a month. Now, I average about half that, sometimes less. And I don't care. I'm still gonna keep doing what I'm doing until I've decided I'm sick of doing it. I know there are people who still watch me and have been watching me since I was doing this for 13,000 people or less. I know that new people will find my work, and older fans will stop watching as they find new things they want to enjoy. And I know there are some pathetic losers who are subscribed to me just so they can downvote every video I make, because their lives are so sad, and that's the only little bit of power they have in the world. None of this bothers me. I've got stuff to say, and I'm gonna keep saying it, and you can decide whether or not you want to keep watching me say it. I've never come to your place to ask you, beg you to subscribe, and then come back every week to watch me. You did that yourselves. And thanks for doing that, I really appreciate that. And I'm gonna keep doing my best to entertain those who want to be entertained by my brand of vulgar, dark, opinionated humor about society and pop culture. And if you're not entertained by it, you have only yourself to blame if you continue to watch. I know Cobain apparently wrote that it's better to burn out than to fade away in his suicide note, but that guy did a lot of drugs. He had no idea what the fuck he was talking about. It's better to be alive, doing what you want to do, whether 1 billion people like it or 1 person likes it. Legacies are for people who are so vain, they still need everyone to think highly of them even after they're being eaten and shit out by the fucking worms.